7 days for under $10 a day. There are 2 college football games Tuesday night, 4 NFL and 2 college football games on Thanksgiving, 16 college football games on Black Friday, plus a full Saturday and Sunday of college football and NFL action. Add in any NBA, college basketball, and NHL action, and it's an awesome week of sports. We are so very thankful that you are current or maybe a new client of WagerTalk, and we want to give you our best once-a-year price for a 7-day all-sport, all-access package. Enjoy the holiday with family and friends, and don't worry about missing plays throughout the week if you're traveling. That's right, only $69 for 7 full days of college football, NFL, NBA, college hoops, NHL, and any other plays your favorite capper releases. Happy Thanksgiving and safe travels for those hitting the road from our WagerTalk family to yours.
Segment. That's cool. All right.
Hey guys, welcome in. It is Monday Fun Day here at WagerTalk.com. We got a little NBA action to discuss here with you, and boy, coming off a crazy weekend. I mean, wow, punched in the face, thrown out, suspensions coming. Boy, the NBA did its best to compete with the NFL yesterday, thanks to LeBron and the Lakers. But no Lakers tonight, no Clippers tonight, no LA tonight. But we got just about every other city in place, and we're going to help break down a couple of games here. Let's bring them in with the Monday crew. Tony Mejia hitting leadoff up at the top there. Rob Vino right in the middle. And, of course, our power hitter cleaning up. There he is, Swiss Miss himself. Kevin Dolan in the house here on this Monday. A little holiday week here, guys. A very happy Thanksgiving to everyone. And Mejia, talk to me, man. We were just saying off air, crazy week. There's so much going on right now with all the sports coming, college football coming to a close, NFL right in the thick of it, college basketball, soccer. I mean, you name it, you got it going on. What's happening at WagerTalk.com for you?
Well, today's a big college hoops day, and this will be a huge college hoops week. I went 15-6 on Sunday, despite the fact that I was knee deep in NFL, but found some time. I got the time for a little college hoops, and yeah, I'm just looking at games like as they go off, maybe an hour beforehand, getting lineups, looking at numbers, and deciding whether I like them or not. It's just that's how it is, hectic wise. Haven't even loaded up NBA yet, but I plan to. Same thing with the Monday Night Football. Really hated life last night with the Chargers blowing my cover against the Steelers. It seems like the Steelers do that either, to me one way or another. Because a few weeks ago I was on them laying points in the game that McLeod butchered by fumbling the punt. But anyway, I digress. It was a winning NFL day, so I can't complain. Winning college football day, had one of the most brutal days in my history on Friday, so bouncing back from that. And yeah, I think I'm off to a 2 or 3-1 start in college hoops today. So hope to keep it going, hope for a strong week, and happy Thanksgiving to all going forward.
Absolutely. Listen, it's a marathon, not a sprint. We say it all the time. And Rob Vino, your weekend, my friend, what's going on? You between NBA, college basketball, NFL, college football. I know you're going bonkers as well, man. What do you got up at $9 Monday at WagerTalk?
Yeah, thank God hockey isn't on my repertoire. Because the guys who choose to include that. Woo! Tony, I'm surprised you're not involved in hockey, buddy. I'm telling you what. The soccer, the worldwide soccer must be enough. Yeah, Tony wasn't the only guy to hate the Chargers last night. I'm right in that pile, looking at 27-10, thinking we're okay. And, of course, Pittsburgh scores that many points in the fourth quarter, 27. So that ended that. NBA closed on a real good run this week, Joe, 5-2. NBA has picked up since the early couple of weeks. So that's really a bonus here. Today, already up and available on $9 Monday, a pair of NBA releases. Going to get some college football up there, too, for $9 Mondays so that the folks can get in a little bit early and at the reduced price. So keep a lookout, WagerTalk.com.
All right, guys, plenty of opportunities here tonight. Oh, the Sacramento Kings going to be so much fun watching them. Sorry, Luke. Sorry, it was bound to happen sooner or later. Dolan, talk to me, man. What was your weekend like and across the pond there? I know you got soccer in your repertoire. I know you got NHL, man. I know you got it all over there. So crazy time of year for you. What do you got going on at Wager Talk?
Yeah, for sure, Joe. Came off a nice 3-1 day in the NFL yesterday. We're riding a nice 32-19 win streak in the NFL right now as well. Good for the number 2 overall NFL handicapper at WagerTalk this season, actually. But, I said at the start of the NBA season, sick of finishing. Seem to be number 2 across the board in every sport, like number 2 in the NBA over the last 2 seasons, as well as we said, number 2 in NFL this season. So, need to finally get that hallowed number 1 spot finally. So we'll start to ramp things up to close out the NFL season in that regard. We've got a 4% double pack loaded up for tonight in the NBA. Really, really like the value actually on tonight's card. We're on a 35-17 run on all NBA sides since May, so pretty happy with that. And finally, you talked about soccer. We got a 4% Champions League 2-pack up for tomorrow as well. Both of those 2-packs, NBA tonight, obviously, and Champions League tomorrow, going for only $9 as part of that $9 Monday promotion over Widget Talk. So great time to jump on board and ready to break down a few of these NBA games in today's show.
All right. Hell yeah, guys. Let's kick it off on this Monday with our contrarian game and play of the day. And we're going to focus our attention out west. And we're going to look at the Memphis Grizzlies taking on the Utah Jazz. And the Grizzlies in this one getting 10.5. And boy, oh boy, a lot of people could not wait to jump off the Memphis train, but yet jump on that Utah train here. Double digits, 10.5 here. Boy, oh boy, might they be getting a little overvalued in the marketplace? Now, no Dylan Brooks tonight. It doesn't look like DeAnthony Melton is going. But I will remind folks, a little bit of a playoff revenge situation here as well for this Grizzlies squad. So, Tony Mejia, I'll come to you. Talk to me here. Are we? Is the marketplace overvaluing the Utah Jazz in this one?
I mean, I really don't think so, because the Jazz are such a hot and cold team in terms of when they're hitting their shots. It's hard to stay with them. They're so sound on defense with Gobert protecting the paint. And then if they got the 3-ball going, you can find yourself down 20 in a heartbeat. And the Grizzlies haven't had a lot of success against the Jazz, especially with Mike Conley over there now. It seems like Utah takes those games very seriously. We've seen Utah dominate the series of late, 6 straight in the regular season. So I think that Memphis has a really good chance of covering a double-digit spread, just because I respect them so much. I still have them as my sleeper team to win the Southwest Division, but at the same time, without Melton, without Dylan Brooks, that's 2 of your top defenders to throw at Donovan Mitchell, and the fact that Jaren Jackson Jr. really struggles to stay out of foul trouble in most games, but especially against Utah, that doesn't help your cause. Brandon Clark has played much better of late, but this to me, I think it's a game where you either take the points with the contrarian side, which I would imagine is Memphis, or you stay away from. But just because of my healthy respect for Utah's ability to cover a spread like this, I'll probably be Switzerland for clients as far as they're concerned.
Rob, I always like looking at teams coming off the worst beating, and I'm talking ass whooping Memphis here by Minnesota. What was it, 43? And boy, oh boy, all the quotes coming out of Memphis are, "We got punked. This is unacceptable." So a little, they're going to be a little fired up here. Utah's beaten Philadelphia without Embiid. Sacramento with the former coach Lou Walton at the helm. So it's not as if anything that they've done recently impresses me. What about you here?
Well, I wish our good buddy Ski Prophet was here so that we could discuss these Ja Morant quotes, that it's losing is unacceptable. How many times have we heard that out of his mouth over the course of the last 2 years? And I'm sure they'll learn from getting destroyed the other night by the Minnesota Timberwolves. The good news, Joe, where that game was concerned, was nobody played any minutes. And you're coming into Utah tonight, into altitude, pretty fresh. I think Ja Morant played 26 and a half, and that was high on the team. Everybody else got to play because it was such a rout. What's difficult to bet into right now is Utah's winning ways. The last 5 games they've won are by 18, 16, 35, 12, and 18. They don't win by little amounts right now. They're shooting real well from three-point range, 43.6, 41.3, and 42.1 in their last 3 games. And when those guys heat up, they're tough. They're extremely tough. I think what you mentioned off the top might be the biggest reason why I can't get to Memphis tonight. Although, again, contrarian gods, I should look out. But Dylan Brooks and DeAnthony Melton just leave them entirely short in the backcourt. And the other night, it was the backcourt that killed them. The combination for Minnesota of D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, Malik Beasley, and Pat Beverly, those guys go 16 of 26 from three-point range. There's just not enough defense out on the perimeter, as was mentioned earlier, without Brooks and without Melton. And you're playing one of the best three-point shooting teams there is. They just have an endless amount of weapons. And they traded one away to Philadelphia because Niang is shooting it pretty well for the Sixers. Those guards scored 74 points the other night against them. What they need to cover here, and it's possible, Joe, but I think what they need is they need a bounce-back game from Morant. Played miserable the other night in limited minutes. And you talked about that playoff series last year. He had a lot of success offensively in that playoff series. They had a hard time stopping him. They have the overload of front court players. I mean, if they can get it to where these front court guys, Jackson, Anderson, Tillman, Brandon Clark, if these guys, use their size, very possible here. Rudy Gobert, and Steven Adams isn't a fair fight, but Memphis has a couple of opportunities here, but it's going to take a lot. I would probably lean towards the Utah side.
All right, leaning towards the Utah. Thumbing their nose up in front of the contrarian gods there, Kevin Dunn. I know you know better. Give me your thoughts here, though. You willing to lay double digits with Utah against a pissed-off Memphis team?
Well, Tony mentioned having a healthy respect for Utah. I'm on that train in terms of, overall. I have a plus 750 ticket on the Jazz to win the West. So I definitely have a ton of respect for this team. But yeah, look, I'm not going to fade the contrarian play tonight either. I like Memphis here. I mean, I don't love it. Let me get that out the way. It's not making my card. But if I'm playing this, I'm going to go Memphis here. Because that was such an embarrassing loss to Minnesota on Saturday. They were down by 45 in that game, shot just 34.9% from the field as well, which, was by far the lowest out of any team in the league over last game sample size. And, basically just got dominated by the T-Wolves in pretty much every facet of the game in that one. The one thing I would say, however, is that Minnesota's numbers were absolutely ridiculous in that game. 53.8% shooting, highest in the league. 48.8% from three-point range, second highest in the league. Fast break points in the paint. Literally everything was almost a double-digit improvement from their season averages. So it looked to me, at least, that Memphis kind of just quit early on that one. They were down by 20-plus points early in the second quarter. Heads dropped. Minnesota simply couldn't miss in that game. So I do think we see more energy from Memphis tonight. It's rare to see this team get humbled by such an extent twice in a row in back-to-back games. And on the other side, we've got a Utah team that, as well as they're playing right now, 10.5, it's a big number. So you'd imagine that Memphis will be a lot more fired up for tonight's game. So yeah, give me Memphis plus the points. That's the way I'd be looking in this one. And I'm full in agreement with the contrarian play here.
There he goes. That a boy. All right. If you're playing, you got to be taking the 10.5 points here. The Grizz are going to be the contrarian play of the day. We are going to move on to a featured matchup tonight, a matchup in which we just actually saw not too long ago. The Charlotte Hornets taking on the Washington Wizards. What an unbelievable comeback for the Wizards over the weekend against the Miami Heat there. And this one, it opens up at 4.5. I'm seeing some 4s here. Total of 216. In this one. Interesting matchup from the standpoint, I'm still seeing 216.5. So the total not moving an awful lot here. But prior to that beatdown by the Atlanta Hawks We're talking about a Charlotte team that actually put it together. I mean, they were, what, 5-0 straight up and against the number before that loss against Atlanta, Rob Dino. So what do you think here? Were the Wizards, were they just lucky to catch Miami on Saturday, or do you think there's an opportunity to back them here and lay the points against the Charlotte team?
Well, let's get back to where you started, where these two teams just played. So we got some real recent history. In fact, all the guys that were on the floor that night will be the same guys on the floor tonight, except for maybe Davis Bertans, now with a question mark next to his name. That would help Washington bench-wise if he comes back. But otherwise, you get the same teams. Charlotte wins 97-87, mutual brick fest by both teams. How about Charlotte wins that game, and they only made 3 free throws? Only went to the line 6 times. 3 free throws, they win 97-87. Washington loses by going 8 of 42, 19% from 3. You just can't expect that to happen to the Wizards, especially at home here. Each team is hot lately. You talked about Charlotte, 5-1 against the spread, last 6. 4 of those 5 wins, by the way, come as outright underdogs, getting points, win the game straight up. So they're good in this role as of late. However, Washington is 5-2-1 against the spread last 8 games, 4-0 at home against the spread during that run. So everybody's got positives where the ATS numbers are concerned. They're interesting teams. They're both. Washington's a little different because they're newly constructed. Charlotte is just a young team. But they both, you read enough quotes out of these camps, and they both are preaching defense and energy for 48 minutes. Charlotte head coach James Borrego praised his team for, fighting to the finish against Atlanta the other night when they lost 115-105. KCP on the other side, KCP says the same thing about the Wizards, that they just never, ever give up. Bradley Beal calls his team a work in progress, but they're doing great things still. I would say this. Washington spreads the wealth a lot better than Charlotte does. Charlotte's way too dependent on LaMelo and Miles Bridges to get their scoring. And Charlotte's pretty dependent upon defense creating offense. Both really are. I'll get to some totals numbers in a minute. There's a little bit of a, recent revenge angle, reason to like the Wizards. But both teams have played to the under so heavy, Joe. It's crazy. Washington in this 8-game stretch, 7-1 to the under. Hornets in that 6-game stretch where they're 5-1, 5-1 to the under. These first half numbers are even crazier. The Washington Wizards, 9-0 to the under first half, last 9 games, 13-3 overall. 6 of those games, the first half total was 99 or less. They don't even make 100 points. It's a real good case to be made here for the under. But I like Washington. I think Washington at home doesn't shoot 19% from 3 tonight and gets Charlotte back. That game was pretty much up in the air until real late. I think Washington gets it this time.
All right, likes Washington there. The Hornets love to score in and around the rim as well, which was kind of the downfall of what the Wizards did last game, 21-31 at the rim. That's where the Hornets live. That's where they love it. So what do you think here, Kevin? You think maybe Washington learned its lesson, going to adjust accordingly? Do you like them tonight?
Yeah, I agree with Rob. Definitely into Washington tonight in this one. The Wizards had their 5-game win streak ended last week against the Hornets. So, obviously you would kind of favor that revenge angle as well. And, as Rob said, they were miserable in that game offensively. They were held to the lowest points total all year. Kyle Kuzma was just 1 of 8 from 3-point range. Spencer Dinwiddie 0 from 4 as well. And it was just basically just the Bradley Beal show on that one. His threes kind of kept Washington in that game late. So Washington are no doubt going to need a much better team effort tonight all round, you'd imagine. But from what we saw on Saturday's win over Miami, they held the Heat to just 25.9% from the perimeter, just 2 fast break points for the Heat over the entire game as well. And, if Washington can do that again here against Charlotte, then I definitely think they win and cover this game, probably by margin tonight. So, give me the Wizards in this one against Charlotte later.
All right, looking for the Wizards to get it done and learn from it. What do you think? Obviously, they got to stop Charlotte in transition. They love feeding from there, Tony Mia. The question is, can they Can they stop Charlotte in this one from doing exactly what they did in the first game 5 days ago?
Well, if I'm James Borrego, I'm preaching defense, so my lean here is towards the under. And the Wizards have seen the low side prevail in 8 of their last 9 games. There's some correlation with Kyle Kuzma really cooling off after a brilliant start. I believe he is something like shooting 30% from the field over the last 4 games. He had one decent game against the Heat, a really poor performance against these Hornets when they played last time out. And that was the lowest scoring game of the Wizards season, their 87 points. There wasn't more than 44 points scored in any quarter except for one. So it was the pace, a slow pace prevailed. And then you have the Hornets going on the road with the mandate of, hey, let's show a little backbone because we've been terrible on the road. 1-7 over their last 8 away from the Hive. So, I think from the standpoint of we've got to do a number of things to show that we're not this young team that is only going to gun and is overly reliant, as Rob said, on Miles Bridges and LaMelo Ball to score points. Let's see more out of Gordon Hayward. He's finally healthy now. Let's see what Terry Rozier can bring, consistently, and let's match up with a Wizards team that at this point, after their early success, not that they've been figured out, because certainly we saw them rally against the Heat the other night, but now there's a blueprint on how this team excels and how to break up their rhythm. Bradley Beal has been a facilitator. I think that's been the key to most of it in terms of getting everybody on the same page, and Montrezl Harrell really rebounding from a dreadful season with the Lakers. So from Washington's standpoint, they want to build off the momentum of rallying against the Heat, which is one of the few games I touched this weekend. I was on Miami money line on Saturday and was very disappointed that Miami couldn't hold that lead. Washington has shown a resiliency in terms of knowing how to win, but now it's time for Charlotte to do the same. I'm going to take the 4.5 points. I think I like how they match up defensively in this game. I like the fact that Kuzma has gone cold a little bit, and you have the ultimate X factor, probably the streakiest player in the NBA, in Kelly Oubre coming off the bench. He's been consistent of late. He's got a 30-point game at one point this season, earlier this month, and can be an X factor with that rotation. So leans here or to the under and to the Hornets getting points on the road.
All right, likes a repeat performance from the Hornets to get the job done here tonight. And that will lead us into our overtime game, a game of which we'll take a look at the total. And come on, the Alvin Gentry era. It has begun in Sacramento. Who else are we going to look at other than the Sacramento Kings taking on the Philadelphia Sixers? And it didn't take long. Ask Rob Vino. Opened up 216.5, 217. Woo! 221.5 is what we are looking at here. Welcome to up-tempo. Problem is, Philly's still an absolute mess here. Embiid gone, Danny Green gone, Tobias Harris listed as doubtful. Still so many question marks with this Philadelphia team. And I'll come to you here, Kev. What do you think? Is it still over or not for you in this matchup?
Well, I think you'd need to be fairly brave, Joe, to take the under here. Both of these teams' defensive efficiency numbers have absolutely plummeted over recent games. Sacramento fell from 23rd to 30th in the league over the last few starts. Not to particularly high-octane offenses either, I should say. Bar Utah, we got OKC in there, we got Detroit, Minnesota. So you'd imagine if you're giving up points in bunches against those kind of offenses, Philly should be able to put up their share of points as well here. Philly's defense has also fallen sharply over recent games as well. Although obviously with no Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons, that'll do that. A little cover on the defensive end for the Sixers. So I would definitely lean over here. I don't usually like jumping straight into games, after the coach has been fired, though. That will give me a bit of pause. But, the Aaron Fox might see this as his interview for a shot out east with the Sixers. Who knows? Still trade swirls, obviously, about where exactly Ben Simmons is going to head to. So, yeah, lean over for me tonight. But, with the line move, just a bit short to make it a play.
All right, good stuff there. What do you think, Mahia? Is it over or not for you with the Alvin Gentry era here?
Well, first of all, I love Alvin Gentry. It's always very nice to me. Media loves Alvin Gentry. Players love Alvin Gentry. Overbettors love Alvin Gentry. And look, he's going to sit there, and Marvin Bagley has to love Alvin Gentry because he wasn't getting out of Luke Walton's bench, and now he'll probably get a chance to play. And yeah, I mean, like you would have to check me for illegal substances if I tell you, well, the Kings are suddenly going to play defense for Alvin Gentry, and I expect a low-scoring game. So can't say that. I think that from Philadelphia's standpoint, we've got Tyrese Maxey has played really well. Shake Milton has responded to get major minutes. They still won't have Joel Embiid. Sounds like he's a couple of games away, so more of Andre Drummond. Look, from a one-game standpoint, I think Gentry's influence does help. You get a Philadelphia team coming in that is somebody that the Kings will be like, hey, let's beat this team. Let's try to get on a run. Let's hit the reset button. That's an easy thing to do, especially when Philly comes in and you don't have to deal with Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons. So from that standpoint, I would lean Sacramento. What are they getting points now in this game? Yeah, no, they're laying 3.5 actually.
3.5 now. Yep.
Yeah, so that I think falls in line with this. I think it would probably be closer to a pick'em if the simulations were that Philadelphia could get this game. Sixers have largely struggled on the road. Lost at Portland, beat Denver. Denver was depleted as well. 35-point loss to the Utah Jazz. Before that, they started the road trip with a loss at Indiana. So it's a team that, for the beginning of the we won't have Embiid and Simmons run, was pretty good, and now the skies kind of opened up and swallowed them whole. Matisse Thybulle is back. That should help their defense, especially with Danny Green out. But this is a Sacramento or a pass for me, and I think we missed the boat on the over because of the line movement. So I'll abstain from that. But this is a game that the Kings could get just to get off the snide and start the Gentry era off with a win. We'll see if I guess Gentry has some stipulations in his contract that he give him a raise and give him a shot to keep this job, for the duration of the next few years. And I saw a betting line that has Kenny Atkinson as the favorite to become the next full-time head coach. So that'll be interesting to monitor.
Well, listen, Rob, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Because we know what Alvin Gentry has done for overbettors. And what do you think? Right off the bat, is that where we're looking tonight? Just give me points, and more points?
Well, if you're in my seat, you don't want to sit around and wait till these totals become 229. So why not jump right in the water? Because
and they're going, Bill.
You got to take advantage of a 217 when you have the opportunity. The question marks, Joe, in this game become, can Philly get their share of points? I think Kevin laid it out pretty well. But, the first thing you would say is Philadelphia is now in their 5th game of this road trip. However, it's a crazy road trip because these 5 games have been spread over 10 days. It's not like they're playing any back-to-backs. They haven't played a single back-to-back on this trip, so they've been able to get rest every single game. Figured they'll be rested here. This trip also hasn't really affected their field goal percentage. With Joel Embiid, they were the number 1 effective field goal percentage team in the league. They're still right in the top 3. In the last 2 games, they've shot over 50% in each, at Denver and Portland. But the defense, as Kevin talked about, has been miserable in 3 of the 4 games on this trip. They've given up between 118 and 120. I could see Sacramento heading there, especially because Sacramento hasn't performed real well in the first 2 games of this 4-game homestand. So you expect a little bounce back for them offensively. Sacramento, from a side perspective, 1-7 against the spread and in their last 8, and they're allowing 112 points a game. So when you have a team in Philadelphia that's going to have 2 guys in their 9-man rotation that stand better than 6'7", it becomes one of those parties at the rim. De'Aaron Fox loves to get to the rim. The Philadelphia, even though Matisse Thybulle was back last game, they didn't stop 3-point shooting whatsoever on the perimeter. Maybe it's going to take him some time to round into form because he sat quite a long time. So I think that perhaps Sacramento can shoot some threes, even though they'd rather get to the rim. The defensive efficiency overall, Kevin talked about lately, they're 23rd and 24th for the season. That's not great. Philly's third in offensive efficiency. Kings are fourth in pace. I mean, I could sit here and go on about why we should play it over. I just think the number is the main reason why. We're not going to see a lot of these out of Sacramento anymore last 65 games of the year. So I'd play over now.
Yeah, it's, between the Sixers, Kings, Memphis, Utah, Phoenix, San Antonio, guys, those are the big numbers right now on the board. We haven't seen movement like this to the over in a while. So there it is, Philadelphia taking on Sacramento as our overtime game. Now it is time to check in with these guys and see on a really decent card here tonight. If there is a game that they have circled for a best bet, Mejia, we'll come to you, man. Talk to me. Is there a game you got circled for us here tonight?
I do. I'm going to ride with the under in Suns Spurs. San Antonio's coming off a 3-game road trip where they lost them all at the Lakers, at the Clippers, at the Timberwolves. Latest against the Timberwolves was a 115-90 debacle. Minnesota's playing a lot better, but the fact is that San Antonio has really struggled to shoot the ball, and that's been their Achilles heel. DeJounte Murray has done a really nice job of keeping everybody involved and becoming one of the more active guards in terms of threatening for triple doubles and really staying busy out there on both sides of the floor. But he's not getting enough help to turn tight games into wins. And the Suns have really turned it up of late. They've held 6 of their last 7 opponents under 100 points. Frank Kaminsky being out of the lineup kind of helps. The same deal for McDermott being out for San Antonio. There are fewer players to pick on. So I like the under here. San Antonio and Phoenix going under 222.
Get it done. Going under here, Suns and the Spurs. All right, let's go here, Rob. What are you buzzing me for? I didn't say anything about Houston sucking. What was that? I didn't do it. Houston sucks. All right, Rob, talk to us here, man. 60 seconds on the clock. Where are you going tonight?
Yeah, I always use one from the show that we've talked about, Joe, and I'm going to go back to that Charlotte-Washington game. The quick turnaround really, I think, helps the Washington Wizards here. They're not a team that should shoot that poorly from 3-point range. I know that some of those guys are erratic, inconsistent, but still, that's a bad number. And it's not like Charlotte puts up a lot of resistance at the 3-point arc. So I think that will help them out, especially if they get Davis Bertans here. That would be even better. I don't think that'll show up in the line. I don't think we're going to see any push from 4.5 to 5.5 if Bertans goes. So that would be an added bonus with his shooting. And their defensive ability and their home record of 7-1 just lead me to that side here tonight. Charlotte is some questionable quotes coming out of there after last game's loss. We can't let this loss affect our next game now. We have to be better. I don't like that line of thinking. Give me the Wizards minus the 4.5 to bounce back.
Do it. Let's go. Wizards bouncing back here in this one. All right, Kevin Dolan, talk to us here, man. 60 seconds. What's the game you got circled for us here tonight?
Yeah, well, I'll just remind everyone quickly, Joe, about our 4% NBA double pack up for tonight, 35-17 in runs, so pretty happy with that. Both of those plays going off for $9, or, as we like to call it in this show, the Steve Merrill special, only $4.50 per play. So, in terms of the best bet, I like the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight, catching 11.5 on the road against Atlanta. I've been, as impressed as anyone over Atlanta's recent run. They seem to be balancing out the scoring, but this number's a bit too high, in my opinion, to be laying on a team in Atlanta who gave up as many opponent assists and rebounds as this team does. OKC ranks number 1 in the league right now in defensive rebounds per game this season. They've got the 8th best defensive efficiency numbers on the road this season as well. And, I like the Thunder to keep this one close tonight. So, OKC for me plus the points tonight, best bet.
All right, going with it. Nice. All right. Well, that does it, guys. Don't forget, though, it is $9 Monday as well at WagerTalk.com, which means, of course, best bets just $9 right now. If you head over to WagerTalk.com, visit Tony Mejia, visit Rob Dino, and, of course, visit Kevin Dolan. Take advantage of it, guys. Opportunities galore here tonight across multiple sports. No reason not to start the week off with an increased bankroll, and that is what it is all about. So make sure you visit Tony Mejia, Rob Vino, and Kevin Dolan tonight. Let's get it going. And as a quick recap here, guys, if you're just joining us, Tony Mejia, Sun Spurs under 222. Rob Vino likes the Wizards to exact a little revenge from a few days ago, 4.5 over the Charlotte Hornets. And Kevin Dolan says, give me the OKC Thunder. I'll take that 11.5 Atlanta Hawks. I got no problem there. Guys, make sure you hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner as well. We'll be back again tomorrow with another edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show. And meantime, best of luck with your plays here tonight. Go take advantage of the $9 Monday and come back and join us again tomorrow. Best of luck with your plays. We'll talk to you then.
7 days for under $10 a day. There are 2 college football games Tuesday night, 4 NFL and 2 college football games on Thanksgiving, 16 college football games on Black Friday, plus a full Saturday and Sunday of college football and NFL action. Add in any NBA, college basketball, and NHL action, and it's an awesome week of sports. We are so very thankful that you are current or maybe a new client of WagerTalk, and we want to give you our best once-a-year price for a 7-day all-sport, all-access package. Enjoy the holiday with family and friends, and don't worry about missing plays throughout the week if you're traveling. That's right, only $69 for 7 full days of college football, NFL, NBA, college hoops, NHL, and any other plays your favorite capper releases. Happy Thanksgiving and safe travels for those hitting the road from our WagerTalk family to yours.